Okay, welcome to another video interview. I have Christine here. She's a senior director in HR. I have so many things I can say about Christine because we go back, like way, way back to basketball and elementary school kind of days. And so I felt very honored and privileged and just excited to support her at this moment in her career and to see where she came to me and to see where she is now and to see where she's even continuing to go as she's graduated from Freedom a few months ago. I wanted to highlight her story. So, Christine, do you want to take a moment, just share a little bit about yourself at home, at work, and anything you'd like the audience to know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Lauren said, I'm Christine. I work in human resources in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm married, and I have two little boys. One's almost two, and one's almost four. And it's basically between work and them, it's kind of all consuming. So not too much room for things outside of that. Although I will say, going through this program has kind of helped me find space and time to prioritize me again, which was something I was kind of struggling to do before coming into this program.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, love it. I always find it so nice to like hear, while we are our title, we're so much more than that, right? And
Yeah.
so you show up as mom, as daughter, as wife, as fill in the blank for a lot of other things. So I think it's always good. So it resonates because we're all wearing all of the hats.
Mhm.
All right, let's jump in. I want to know what happened, what brought you to reaching out to me?
So when I reached out to you, and I don't know if you recall this, but I do, I was feeling completely overwhelmed. I remember even very emotional the first time we spoke, where I was just attempting to learn more about the program and what you offer as a coach and if it would be a fit to work together. Um, I was feeling, as I mentioned, overwhelmed, burnt out, lacking a lot of confidence, feeling kind of like stuck, I guess, too. Like I knew the habits and my ways of thinking weren't serving me very well, but I didn't know how to get out of my own way, essentially,
Hmm.
and change some of the things I was doing, change some of my mindset. And I was looking for really that way out. And
Hmm.
kind of the guidance, if you will. Um, and so that's why I reached out.
Yeah. Do you feel like, from your experience, was it like it just kind of all hit at one point where you're just like, you know what, now's the time I need support, I'm raising my hand? Or do you feel like it was kind of like coming, was this something
Mm,
you've been feeling for like 6 months, a year, years, and you're like, I should get to this, and maybe 6 months ago was just the time you finally got to it?
yeah. It was building over time for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
And I had explored different ways to try to to seek help, whether it was things I was reading or people I was talking to. Um, Nothing was really sticking for me, but I did feel like I almost reached a breaking point when I realized I was spending time with my family, but I wasn't like present. Like there was a few instances where I was just like, well, what is the point, right, of having this beautiful family if I am so all consumed by work and other things, that I feel like I just have to do as part of this rat race, if you will, that I'm
Mhm.
not present. And I think that was the thing that was the hardest for me. It's like I really didn't feel present in any given moment, and I didn't know what to do about that. I was like, this has to change.
Mhm.
But I don't know where to start changing this.
Hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that because so many of us have that, like it builds. There's
Yeah.
like that smoke before the fire. And I think there's something within us at some point that's like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna raise my hand, or okay, fine, like
Yeah.
let's give this a shot. But that's what I hear often is that it just is like this building thing. So to be really honest with yourself of like, yeah, I felt it and then was finally like, okay, let's give this a
Yeah.
chance. So tell me about what we you learned while we were working together.
So many things. Like, where do I start? Um, one of the best parts of working together was having that space. So the time and the opportunity to focus on myself and really think about these things that are, as I mentioned before, not serving me. Like I was kind of stuck going through the motions of um, work and life, but not really feeling fulfilled. And
Hmm.
so, when we had our sessions, it was like an opportunity to breathe and think and put it all out there and get clarity on, you know, what's not really working for me, what is working, but also what's not. And
Mm.
then putting some plans in place, like some real tactical like strategies and things I could experiment and try, and then have a safe place to talk to about like what is going well, maybe what's not going well, what I need to rethink or do differently. And so, over time, I really do feel like I started to regain confidence, like that I was pretty depleted when we first started working together just because of a myriad of things, but building back confidence, making time for myself and prioritizing my health, mental health, but also physical health. Like I'm back in a
Hmm.
fitness routine again, which had been missing for really a long time. Um, we work together to identify what my purpose is. So I always thought purpose was this kind of grand thing I had to live up to, but I learned right from our time together that it doesn't need to be that way, and I can feel and live a real genuine purpose that's true to me every single day, whether I'm with my family or friends or at work. And so defining that and then living that, like it really has made me feel so much more fulfilled. Um, and then just relationships. Like we often joked, like my husband usually would come, kind of, last on the list of priorities when it came to all the different people in my life, but that relationship is so important. And just identifying that I didn't even realize I was sometimes putting him last, but helping realize that through our work together, and then coming up with ways that we can change that. And like we actually have date nights, and we're doing things together that we weren't before. So there's a lot of things from personal health to relationships to my confidence. Um, all of that was built through our work together.
I love it. All of the things. And I think everything you're sharing here is like not a surprise to anyone who's listening of like we put our work first. If we have kids, we put them second, then maybe we're third, and then maybe our partner end up being
Yeah.
like tied with us or underneath. And it just turns out that way when our day is so full and the needs of a little one might just feel urgent. But of course, the marriage is still important. But it just, because of all these urgent needs, these emails, these text messages, we respond to those first
Yeah.
until it becomes a point where then it feels like the marriage is urgent. So I love that you came into this of like very intentional of, I want this to be like, I know this can be great. Like, this is good. And I know it can be great. And that's what I love that you came in of like, how do I make all of this just better?
Exactly. Yeah. Like all the pieces were there. And I have a wonderful family and a great job. And like, why am I feeling this way? Right. And so,
Hmm.
I'm in just a much better headspace to also just appreciate those things now. And one other thing too that I started as a result of our work together is a gratitude practice, and in a way that works for me, right? I think I had been like trying to do things like that on and off, but nothing really was sticking. So like, how can I find a simple way that I can reflect and on what I'm grateful for? And that's really helped too, like keep things in perspective, um, and remind myself of like all these wonderful things that I do
Love
have.
it.
Yeah.
What's been your tactic, like the way that you've gone about your gratitude practice, if you're open to sharing? You don't have to share what the things are, but
Yeah.
how
So
it looked. Everyone wants to
sure.
know the how. So
I
tell us.
know, I know. So for me, what I found, has worked really well is it's actually through an app. It's the Happier app. And it's like you can write, one or two sentences. There's actually like a word cap or, yeah, letters or word cap. So you can't go on and on, which is kind of good. It's meant to be short and sweet. But I set an intention to reflect on something that I'm grateful for every day. And I get a reminder prompt in the evening and I just go in and I capture that. And then you can look back on all of them like over the duration of the week or however long you've been doing it. So it's kind of nice to also look back and see the things that
Love
you
that.
have been grateful for over time. But it's just a really simple, quick way. It like can take, 30 seconds or up to 5 minutes, depending on how much time you want to spend. But that's been something I've been able to do every day.
Amazing. And that's where you can see anyone who's listening to this is small changes can be profound. And I hear
Yeah,
that a lot about the work that we did together because nothing was necessarily on fire. Some people come to me where things are on fire, and some people come to me when there's smoke. And you're like, I smell smoke. I am not
totally.
allowing a fire to happen. How do we fix this? And that's where, like, to see we don't have to rehaul your life to be more
Yeah.
grateful. We just need to be more intentional and do little things, like you said, 30 seconds to 5 minutes max, where I'm just taking stock of the good in my day.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's also where when I found you and I was, reading about the work you do and the clients you work with, I know a burnout is a big focus, right, for you. And I was like, well, do I qualify? Like, would I define my situation as burnout? I mean, I was working a lot, um, but I was still doing other things. I think the problem was even when I was doing the other things, I wasn't present for them. Like I still was feeling like distracted and something was missing, right? That fulfillment piece that, not necessarily feeling I was living a purpose. So I was like, I don't know, does that qualify as burnout? And I think you were able to help me see this, like you're checking the boxes, right? Of like leading to that place where, yeah, like you're gonna burn out. And it doesn't mean, I guess burnout doesn't have to mean you're working 100+ hours a week necessarily. Um, Although, there have been seasons in my life where that's been true too, but I understand there are also things, we talked about to like have boundaries and balance in place if and when like work or certain things do pick up. But I'm glad that, you were able to take me on, even if I didn't necessarily fit the mold maybe of some of the other folks you've worked with who feel burnout.
Yeah, and I think it's like a great time to even pause because if someone else is listening to this and they're like, "Oh, maybe I'm in the same place." Maybe like it's almost as if did I like pull you in as a courtesy or work with you as a courtesy? And like burnout is sneaky because we have these very obvious views of burnout, which is like 100-hour weeks, terrible boss, traveling across the country, ending up in a hospital, and that's just like my story, right? But then I talk about there's all these other versions of like um, untapped potential, exhausted,
Mhm.
a little cynical or pulled back or withdrawn, maybe not as effective as you'd like to be. And those are all symptoms of burnout. And so that's where when you came to me, you're like, can you help me or is this right? I was
Yeah.
like, absolutely, because with what you're sharing, like, let's not let it get to the place where you have a similar story to mine. Let's create your own story where you have your like your rebound and you're like, okay, I have control. What I'd love to talk about is your work because I love to hear what you've experienced at home, more grateful, more present. Tell me how this impacted your role in like with your colleagues, with those you're in HR, you're a people person dealing with people. Like, how did you see a shift in how you were showing up there?
I know early on we talked about imposter syndrome, and that was something that was pretty consuming for me. And part of the reason is that, while I've been with my company for a little while now, I hadn't previously worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and everybody I was working with, everybody I was surrounded had spent their entire careers there. So I felt like I couldn't always measure up in terms of my knowledge of the business or industry. And that like kind of just like started to eat away at my confidence.
Mm.
I just felt like, do I really belong here? Do I belong in this room with these people? Did I really earn this? Um, and so helping understand and identify, why that was happening, I think was really important. And then, just starting to repair, some of the confidence blows. And I think we were able to work on that. Um, so that I did start to feel like, no, I did earn this. I do deserve to be here. Um, I know that one of my goals when we were working together was to build that confidence, like to have more confidence at work. And
Hmm.
you mentioned like that is an output no matter what, like whatever we're focusing on, that's going to build. And in some ways, I'm like, I don't even know how this happened, but like, I am like, I feel like I show up differently,
Hmm.
um, at work than I did before. And it's, that's been like, it's been so great, like a relief, right? To just
Yeah.
feel, to feel that confidence. But then I also know it comes across, right? And how I present myself, how I work with others, how I show up for others. Um, and then another thing that I have noticed a big improvement on is my, I guess, emotional state almost at the end of the day when I leave work. So in my role, I'm often listening to other people's problems is one way to put it, I guess. And I do it because I love to help people. Like I'm in this role because I want um, to work with others and help, solve challenges with them and problems with them. But sometimes it can be a lot of like people's emotions and feelings and issues dumped on me, it can feel like, right? And so I come home almost feeling heavy. And that was something we talked about. Um, and so, one area you helped me realize that I can work on and I have is, being available and being open to help others, right? I want to be fully present at home, at work. Um, but having that, what is it? Now I'm forgetting what we even called it, but it's like where it's like I am not disconnected. Now I can't think of what.
Present. I'm like, who
Like
knows probably better than that, but there's
I'm
probably.
present, but it's like I'm not absorbing, right?
Mm.
All the issues so that I am like, kind of walking away feeling
Yeah, like a
heavy with those
conduit
problems.
of
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
It's
yeah,
like somewhat it's like present, but also not it's not disconnected. I don't know. I can't think of the right
it's
word, but
gonna come up. It's okay.
yes, yes. Um, but regardless of what I call it, I do really feel like I can not um kind of take on everybody's issues as my own. I don't
Amazing.
think I fully realized I was doing that
Hmm.
before. And now that
Hmm.
I'm even aware of it, it's like, okay, I can be here and I can listen and I can do my best to help this situation, but this isn't my situation, right? Like I don't own this situation. And so that's been hugely helpful for
Huge.
how I do my job.
Amazing. Do you think others notice it in you?
I, you know, yes, I do because and maybe it's not that in that particular scenario, but this could maybe be part of the confidence piece and just again making this time to reflect. Um, And one of the practices I also put into place as a result of us working together is focus on my like leadership abilities because I do lead a team. So I've set aside time to as like a professional development hour pretty much every Friday where I'm focused on how I want to show up as a leader, for myself, for others, and I spend time, I think about it. There's kind of certain exercises I've done to do that work. And I've had a member of my team like comment on like saying, hey, like I noticed you doing X, Y, and Z, and it's been awesome. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Like other people, I'm not telling people I'm doing this, but I am clearly showing up differently. I'm doing things a little differently, and that's being noticed. So that was nice to hear.
I love that. It's subtle, but it's almost like, oh, did you get a haircut or something? And you're like, nope, I'm just, glowing on the inside, and people can
Yeah.
feel that. People can feel that. So you're a few months out of post-graduation.
Yeah.
How have you been maintaining? One of the questions that a lot of people will feel or ask is like, so then what? Like, it's like, okay, I feel really supported in the program, but like how's life beyond it? Like what have you been doing tactically? How's your mindset been? Anything you want to share there?
Yeah, I was almost nervous to graduate because I was like, I feel ready, but I am also, first of all, I was going to miss our time together. But I've always felt so supported by you. I was worried, what am I going to feel like when that support person is missing? I mean, I know you're there and you're available if I ever need you, but just not in the same regularly scheduled way. But I know we put like a framework in place basically, and one of the things we talked about and I was able to implement was a success formula for myself. So it's almost like, what is the baseline things I need to be doing for myself, for my health, for my family, right? Like we looked at it in terms of like almost a daily, weekly, monthly. Like these are the things I need to focus on, the things that are my priorities, that are aligned with my values, that bring me joy, right? That no matter what's going on in my life, I have to keep these things in place, right? And of course, you can't always be perfect, and things are going to slip. And I'm going to schedule, a girls' night, and then something maybe comes up with the kids, and I can't make it, or life happens. But being intentional and knowing that, you know, 85% of the time I'm going to try to make the mark on these things that I set up in my success formula. That's going to help me no matter what other curveballs life throws. And even if it's a really busy work season again, like going back to, well, but I still need to find that 20 minutes to, for movement, because like that helps me with my sleep, that helps me with my patience, that helps me with my presence, right? And so knowing that, it's like I can't compromise on those things. Um, and I hear your voice in my head.
Nice.
Like, do the thing, do
Do
the
the
thing.
thing. Take the 20 minutes. Do it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome. I
Right.
think that gives people a lot of peace because there's this idea of like, okay, well, if I'm not supported, then I'm not supported. And the truth is like to learn how to ride my bike so that you can ride your bike
Yeah,
wherever you want, whenever you want, not to always be
exactly.
told turn left, turn right. And so I love that you sharing. It's like, okay, and every client I work with gets that success formula and everyone is different. But like you said, it's like the baseline to be the best colleague, the best mom, the best wife, the best Christine that you can be. And I love seeing how that's continued months later.
Yeah. Yes.
So what's next for you? I know you're in a busy period of work and so well at the time we're recording, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
But like how do you keep it going?
I mean, I'm going to keep doing the things, right? It's continuing to show up for myself, and know that that's not selfish, right? That is what is, needed for me to be the best version of myself, for myself, but for everybody else
Yeah.
that I come in contact with, at work, at home. And so I where I feel so at peace is I that like searching I felt like I was doing, of like where, when I always like when someone would ask me what's next, I'd always be like, what's that next thing in my career? And I have to find this like ultimate like purpose, and whatever that next level is, and kind of chasing that. Like I feel so much more contentment, that
Mhm.
right now, and things can change, right? Goals can change. Um but my purpose is going to remain. And I feel really good about that. And as long as I continue to, you know, practice these better habits, right? The ones I didn't have in place, and live to that purpose, like I think I can maintain this feeling, right? And then, and know that, like, yeah, things will evolve over time, and my career goals may change, but, um, I think, the purpose, you helped me identify the values that, I was able to um, spend time thinking about and aligning to, like, that's going to remain. And, like, yeah, I know that, like, whatever comes next, like, those, I have those things down now.
Yeah,
And so
I love that.
I know I'll feel successful.
Right. Because you know what you need to do to get there, right? It's not
Yeah.
about the destination. It's like, okay, what's the journey? How do I make the journey fun, memorable, right? Like it's not just about getting to that next job or next promotion or next, but like doing it in a way that like you enjoy every piece of it along the way. And I think you're doing an amazing job of like really integrating what you took from our coaching into all the facets of your life of like I get to wear all the hats, not just the two of like work and mom. I have like a whole wardrobe of hats that you get to wear and like have fun with while you wear them.
Yes.
Love it. All right, last question. I always like to ask this. What piece of advice or wisdom would you like to share with somebody who might be thinking about coaching?
If you are feeling similarly, right, to how I felt, and just feel that kind of that overwhelmed feeling, that lost, somewhat directionless maybe, or maybe you feel like you have a lot of direction, but you're feeling completely burnt out, and or low confidence, any of those things, like, invest in yourself. I think I was feeling all these different ways, but was like, this is just normal. Like, people feel this way, and I'll try, reading a book, or, I don't know, doing anything, but really taking the time and taking the investment seriously. But I tried all the other things, and it didn't work. And um, it's worth it, right? It is so worth it. And Lauren is amazing and so incredibly just open and supportive and wise. Like, some of the things you would share with me, I'm like, where did you gain this wisdom? Like, I don't know. It's amazing. Um, but it, you really gave me a space to do my best thinking and almost like healing. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I just, yeah, I really hope that anybody, considering it, just dives in, trusts you, trusts the process, and I really know it can change their life.
Mm, thank you so much. I'm going to leave it
Thank
right there because
you.
I nothing anything else would be just blabbing. So thank you for your kind words, your generous openness, your ability to just kind of give everybody a glimpse into your life, the before, the after, and like go you for like months later. You know, sometimes I have these interviews and it's like around graduation, and I really loved highlighting you're out of the program right now and you're killing it. So keep doing it and keep going. And I'm just celebrating you each step of the way. So thank you so much for being here. And we'll go from there. Thank you everybody
Thank
for
you. Of
listening. We'll pause this, we'll end this interview, but
course.
thank you everyone.